Hey everybody, Andrew here. Welcome to Living the Northern Life. Today, I'm back on the property here with Katie, and our metal showed up. Let me show you our metal. This is our 3x3 sheets of wainscoting here that we're going to be putting on the side. But before we get to that, we need to complete a whole bunch of work. We need to finish installing our 2x4 around the bottom for the base of our wainscoting. We need to cut this roll of metal in half. We need to put blueskin on both sides of the door frame to separate our concrete blocks from our wood. And then we need to install the metal flashing around the bottom, put red tape around the top, and create a straight line all the way around the building before we can even put up the metal. Katie's using the Milwaukee here. She's gonna go cut down the area by the fire pit with the Milwaukee weed eater. So I need to get my tools all set up, put my hard hat and glasses on, and then get to it. Katie's out weed eating the driveway now. Okay, so the 2x4s on the north side is done now as well. I've screwed them all in. And as you saw, we started here on the west side. So we're going to continue with that. If you think drilling holes in concrete is easy and you
think you got it figured, you're wrong.
All right, so all the 2x4s are installed around the west, north, and east sides now. All the screws are tightened up, and so I think the next step for us to do is to try to cut our metal into half and see if we can get that installed, put it around the bottom. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my stapler to start with, because we're gonna be putting some trim or flashing around the bottom for the bottom of the wainscot. Let me show you that. All right, so we're gonna be putting this around the bottom just on top of the metal flashing. So this is going to get screwed into the wall, which is why I want to use staples for the other metal. All right, so we got the straps on. We got a black line kind of at the 12-inch mark. This is a 24-inch piece. So I'm going to use the diamond blade on the grinder, see if we can cut this thing in half. The tie strap should stop it from expanding out. It's not very springy, so I should be okay. All of my batteries are dead. I have to stop and come back tomorrow. Well, we just stopped by our home hardware. We bought some benchmark cutoff blades here that fit our Milwaukee tool. And they're holding up pretty well, but the batteries died, so nothing I can do today. Everything that we need now is we need to get that metal cut in half and then start putting it up on the walls. So I'm gonna pack up and come back again tomorrow, where hopefully I'll have 6 fully charged batteries. As you saw earlier, Katie was out on the weed eater and chewed a bunch of power away from that forged battery. But anyway, all right, we'll see you guys in a second. All right, well, it's the next morning. We're back out here on at the shop. Got to finish cutting up this metal here in half. Just got to get set up and get to it. Well, I wasn't really expecting that to work. I used my multi-tool here with the Diablo Extreme Metals blade on it, and it just cut through this thing like butter. All right, so now I can take my hard hat off. I'm just gonna move these 2 pieces out of the way here, sweep up this metal that's laying here on the ground from the cutoff saw, and I'm thinking about cutting these lengths into 20-foot lengths. I don't think I wanna do 40 feet or more with the expansion of, well, it's not aluminum. I'm pretty sure of that. It's way too hard to cut. I was thinking that the diamond blade would be able to cut it with the grinder, no issues. I was thinking that in 10 minutes yesterday that this would have been done, but I was sadly mistaken. All right, well, I'm gonna unroll this thing. It's gonna be outside anyway, so I'm not terribly concerned about what it if it's gonna get wet or not. I actually might have to start from the back because I think I want the nice side up and the cut side into the gravel. There's going to be a whole lot more gravel on this side. And in fact, the whole building is going to get surrounded by a gravel. So yeah, I'm going to start from the back. All right, so we got our first piece of, well, there's 2 pieces here actually. I laid out 40 feet, probably about 42 feet. I wrapped it around the other side. It's a little askew back there, but that's okay. I'm gonna be covering it up with another chunk of this. I ended up cutting this into 2 20-foot sections. So that way I could do this by myself. I don't know how strong the staples would be at this end if I had somebody at the other end pulling, and I'm more concerned about the weather and the flexibility and expansion, contraction of the metal here. So that's why I cut it into 2 20-foot sections. It doesn't look bad from here, but definitely do need to do some work to this joint. So I'm probably gonna get some black silicone here and some black spray paint. Try to push that together as much as possible, hold it in there with a 2x4 or something just to pinch it so that it stays. I know when the sun heats up that it's gonna make the silicone kind of, move around a bit. So I don't know if that's a great option or not. There's just nothing for me to staple it here too at the bottom. We do need to backfill probably about 10 inches of A-gravel, so to be about in here, that should push that together. It's not going to see a whole lot of sun in here, but I'm going to try to do the best I can anyway. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another 40-foot chunk. I may roll that out in the back just because I don't really want to slide it around here on the A-gravel. So I'm going to move my cameras around, see if we can capture that. Of course, some of my dirt in the back here is a little bit too high. I should have probably shoveled that away from the insulation before I put this piece of metal in place. it's not nailed except for at the end. I was going to pull it and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I need to move some of this metal away from the base so that way I can use a little shovel or something to make a space for the metal to sit up against the insulation before I use my Milwaukee 1/4-inch crown stapler to put it in place. All right, well, I'm going to stop here for now. I have to cut a chunk of flashing to finish off the rest. Let me show you what we need here. Okay, so we need a bit of overlap, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4, 24 feet. So if we give that 25 feet, we can finish off this side. But I also need to wrap this around the south side here, and I want to bring that all the way up to the garage door. Now this side obviously is going to be in the heat, but there's not going to be much showing because the A gravel here, you can see it's up pretty high. So we're talking just a few inches here so that everything here is level. Well, not exactly level. We don't want it exactly level here because the issue is that if rainwater gets into this area, then it could get inside the shop. So it's all A gravel. It should drain. There's 6-inch minus and 2-inch minus under this. There should be no reason why the rain sits in here or water. But like I say, there's only going to be a few inches of black metal showing here before we get to the wainscoting here on the front. But I might just cut one chunk of metal and move that all the way to the garage door over here, and then put another little piece over there to the end. This piece here is going to be about 5 feet, including the wraparound over here. Not really much. I guess I could have pulled this sheet back and made all my fancy corner here. But we've got to cut out some of this silver board over here and put our plywood in, so I don't have anything to nail it to anyway, which is why I started here. So this is the east side. I have some work to do here on this corner like I did on the other side, but this is going to get all buried. So the north side here is done as well, but I do have a job to do here at the man door. I'm going to cut this metal here and then lay that flat over top so that it's on the concrete, and I can tape it down, and if any water gets in, it can't get down inside here, and it should just roll out. So when we install the door, we're going to be putting a few beads of silicone. We're going to put one long one across the back and then put a bunch of beads this way, so that way if any water does get in there, it should shed off here to the front. I don't have a rubber mallet here with me, but I think that would be the perfect thing to help me finish this job off. All right, so the next thing for us to do is to take off the 2x8s that we put in here just to narrow the door down. We're going to be putting in a piece of blueskin that's going to cover our piece of metal and come up the concrete blocks. So that way our wood is separated from our concrete, and we shouldn't get into any trouble there. All right, so I'm going to put the 2x8s back in place just to hold the blueskin so that it doesn't fall down and that it can really stick to the sides. Wow, okay, so we use that Henry's blueskin prep. We let it sit here on the walls, the concrete blocks and the floor here for 3 minutes, and it sure made that blueskin tacky. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of forgot to put it up. And I tacked the top of the blueskin on over here, and it wasn't sticking at all. And now it's excessively sticky, which I kind of like. Well, all right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this one. Man, I was not expecting the grinder to take that long to cut through that metal, which I thought was aluminum, but it must not be aluminum. I'm going to have to go see what it is. Let me show you around, show you what we were up to. So far, I still have a whole roll left. There must be 90 feet in there, maybe more. Let's count. All right, so we got 40 feet here with a little bit of overlap right there. There's about 6 inches of overlap here. This is all gonna get buried, so I'm not really concerned about what it looks like. You can see though that I've got about 2 feet that came around the corner. So there's 42 and a half feet. And then it goes down this side, 39 feet. We put the blueskin on the concrete blocks on the concrete floor and back up the concrete blocks again. I've got some weight on this just so that the metal here will stick to the floor nicely. And I've got a little yellow plastic here. I'm going to cover this up because I don't really want my cardboard to get wet if it rains this week. Done. And then I wrap this metal around the side 8 feet. So yeah, there's 90 feet in that roll, give or take. We still have 25 feet to do here and 24 more feet here. I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did in this man door as I did on the back. To come around this corner again, I need to dig out this gravel a little bit so that way the metal can sit down. But yet we've got to cut 3 feet, give or take, off of this silver board. So that way we can put in our plywood here and get ready to do stone, maybe in a couple years. I'd love to do my Versetta stone right now, but it's too expensive. I know the price is going to go up. Well, I'm expecting it to go up. It would be really nice if it came down. Listening to the guys down in the States, and they're talking about that these are $50 for 2, and they're $108 here. So I don't understand why there's such a big discrepancy. And this is before tariffs, and of course we've got to account for the dollar conversion. But even at 30%, I'm nowhere near what it would cost me if I had them brought in from the States. So I don't get it. And then of course, we have this little bit to do in here, about 5 feet with the overlap around the corner. So all in all, I think it's working out pretty well. Well, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That was a whole weekend for us, and it took way too long for me to cut that metal using the grinder. I don't know why it took so long. We went through all of the batteries. Now, I'd used the 2.5 amp hour batteries for something else, and Katie was using the weed eater yesterday to weed eat. So, you know, the big Forge 8 amp hour was mostly used, I'll say, but I did use the whole 8 amp hour battery this morning. I started in with a 5 amp hour before I switched over to my Multitool, and that Multitool walked through this stuff without any issues. There were still 4 bars. It was completely full by the time I finished. So I'm glad I thought about switching over. All right, guys, leave your comments down below. Give us a thumbs up if you like this. And if you're not a subscriber or following along, click that subscribe button to follow along. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it sure means the world to us. And until the next one, keep living the Northern Life. Thanks for watching Living the Northern Life. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and our website. Remember to click subscribe, click that bell notification, and give us a thumbs up for the videos you like.